Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at Roll to the Top Journeys. All right, we're going to see what this game is like when you play it with its solo mode, and I'll give you some feedback on what I think about it. All right, let's take a look. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I do appreciate that support. Thank you very much. So the way this game works solo is you are going to basically try to complete your puzzle per the standard rules. And then for every number of die you roll -1, you are going to make an X and start crossing off with just X's this structure, okay? And the whole goal is you're trying to complete your structure per the standard rules before these all get crossed off. And if you do, then you count the empty spaces and that determines your score. It's actually pretty difficult to do. Everything else stays the same. All the rules stay the same with the way the dice work. The one thing is if you roll one die, you of course still cross off one, otherwise that would be broken. So I'll just show you a couple of rounds as we go. You always begin the game by rolling all these and looking at the even numbers and starting with evens. So here we have 4. So this is gonna start our dice pool. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll these along with this die, and this die will determine whether things are gonna be swapped in or out or taken out, just like the rules. And the whole goal of the game is you have low numbers on the bottom and you wanna start to build up with higher numbers, because the rules are that in order for you to write a number on top of another number, it has to be equal to or greater than the number on the bottom. And I chose this one because it's just a demo, because this one's got a couple of cool things going on. First of all, you can see here that this line divides these two and all of these from these. And this one has a 2, 3, and then a 2. And this one's back and forth. And that definitely changes the kinds of risks and rewards you can try to play with this game based on the type of puzzle. And you've got 6 different puzzles. And here's another one different here where you have, starting points down here, but you have a starting point over here too. And you can maybe put a little bit of a higher number in there and take a few more risks, knowing you do have to eventually join up. So each of these things has some interesting, puzzles to solve, okay? So anyway, we begin the game and the turn by rolling all these, and then we can write down any numbers that we want. That was fortunate. And you can even add the dice together, okay? And if you add the dice together, you can do that to get bigger numbers. So here I rolled 4 dice. So no matter what, my opponent's gonna cross off 3, okay? And then I'm gonna see what I wanna write. Well, I'm very fortunate in the fact that I got a couple of 1s. So let's go ahead and put this 1 here, this 1 here, and maybe we'll put the 3. I could put it over here, or I could keep it kind of independent and do that. If I put it over here, it's gonna start to getting mixed. So we'll do this, we'll put the 3, we'll put it over here, all right? And now it says minus, so I have to choose one of these dice to set aside, and I'm not gonna use the 6, by the way. You can decide not to use any dice. And of course, the fewer dice you use, he's gonna keep kind of going through it. So you don't necessarily want to do that, but a 6 is a really rough number to have on the bottom here to start off. You could say, well, all right, maybe you should put the 6 here, and you can hope for that. And that's the kind of risk reward that this game goes for. But either way, I'm doing this. I'm not going to take it. So I took away a die because this said subtract. If this says swap, I have to swap one. If this says add, I have to add one. And when you have 5 dice in here, 5 dice, pardon me, you always take one away. And if you have only 1, you always add 1. So we go to the second turn here. All right, 1, 11, 11. Ooh, that is bad news. Oops, I actually took the wrong die away when I was doing that. My mistake. What I really wanted to do was take this one away, but it's too late for that now. I was jabbering along, and now here we go. So I'm gonna put this 1 over here. First of all, I gotta cross off 2. 1, 2. I'll take the 1. I'm really not keen on taking the 11. It seems like an awful situation, so I'm not gonna take either of those. I have to add another die back in. So we're gonna add this one back in, all right? So we're gonna roll again. Okay, I have to cross off 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I think I'm, yeah, never mind. Okay, so here I've got good situation. Now I've got this 1. I've got a 3. I can put it on top of my other 3. I can even put a 4 right on top of that. 1, 3, 4. And now I might want to use the 8 because I'm getting up there pretty good. So if I put the 8 up here, I think that's going to be all right. And the reason is I don't want to I've got to stay on par or try to beat him and outpace what he's doing. So that's really kind of the crux of what's going on here. So I'm going to subtract this. We'll roll again. Now I've got to add. So I've got a 2, 3, and a 7. So 7's kind of a rough one. But I can take the, let's see, I could take the 2 over here. Seems pretty good. And we'll take the 3 over here. But I don't like the idea of a 7. And I have to cross off 2. Yeah, because the 7's going to start me on a tougher path. But you know what? Maybe, again, if I want to try to win, I've got to go fast up here. Now I have to add back a die. And so this is the way the game goes. It continues on with these steps. Oh, boy, is that great. With these steps, and you're trying to outpace the AI player, so to speak. And I can use all of those. So that's what you want to see. You want to see a situation of that 1, 1, 1. So I put 1 down here, and I can put 2 more 1s over here. And there will come a time, like for now, and now that I've got all these 1s out, pretty soon, if I've got nothing else, maybe I don't want this die to be in here. But as it stands, it's still pretty good to keep it out. So you can kind of see how it goes. Plus or minus means you can add or subtract. I'm going to put the 2 right here. And I'll put the 3 here and the 3 here. And I have to cross off 2. So at this point, you know, he's done 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 boxes. I've done 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I'm kind of ahead by a couple, which is good because that's what I want to do. I want to be ahead of him, and hopefully I can keep this up. And if I can, then I win. All right, let me tell you what I think about this. So Roll to the Top Journeys, I think, is a pleasant enough, easy to play, and relatively non-cerebral, punishing solo game. I think it's got enough choices for you to enjoy. I've seen mixed reviews. People are like, I've got no choices at all. I just write down the number, or I don't. You know, it depends on what you're looking for, right? This is a great, I'm tired, it's been a long day, I just want to play something that gives me a little stimulation, but doesn't require me to have a ton of setup, a ton of time commitment, because this game can be played in 15 minutes for sure. And, you know, you get some choices, and they're pretty interesting, I think, just from a standpoint of the kind of puzzle that you're trying to solve. And I think that's where the game is, you know, good from a standpoint of your feel of it. I think you're going to find that some puzzles, you like the feel of those more than others. Like these that I showed you, I kind of like this one. I find that the choices are much more interesting than the pyramid. The pyramid is really kind of a boring, you know, and I'll show you what I mean by that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my favorite. I played it once. Maybe I'll play it again with some beginners, but you know, here you're basically just putting low numbers, and just stacking up. That doesn't provide a ton of excitement to me. The Eiffel Tower is a little better, you know, but with the Eiffel Tower, at least you have a chance to throw away some numbers if you want early on. And so each of these things, you know, you saw the other two, and then you've got this one, which is the tree, and then I believe this is the Matterhorn over here. I think they all, thankfully there's enough in here that's where I think the game shines, is you're going to find some puzzles you just seem to like more. And those will be interesting, and some of them won't necessarily be interesting to you. Overall, the solo game is very easy to play, and that pressure of, I have to really make sure that I don't get behind this, you know, this opponent is strong. I think it's good. It is very simple to play. If you're looking at something, you know, you just saw me play it as I was going, so you can absolutely judge would this be something for you or not. And I don't think it's going to be something for everybody, because I think some people say, it's too simple. But for me, I like to have a good rounded, well-rounded solo collection, and this rounds out that lighter, easier to play piece of it. So I like it. I also like the fact that as you get deeper into the game, I should say, later in the game, you're going to be trying to roll not only high dice, but you're going to have to be adding those dice together, which is really where the squeeze comes in, because the more times you have to add dice, the solo doesn't, or the opponent doesn't care. He's still going to do n-1 of what you put in there. And so that means that you're going to be starting to, get run away from that. And I think that provides a little more pressure than if you play in the multiplayer game, where the multiplayer game, everybody is kind of making the same kind of choices. It's just a different type of feel, different type of pressure, I guess. In the multiplayer game, you have people choosing to write different numbers and taking different risks. Here, you just have this, advancing timer that's gonna, if it catches up with you, you lose. So anyway, I find it pretty fun. Hopefully, if you watch this and you want to check it out, you feel like you can. It is a little pricey though, and I think it's because of the laminated boards, but $40 is, which is the MSRP for this, is a little bit on the high side. I think it's probably more like a $20 situation. However, I know that it's not as, I would actually prefer the laminated boards versus just tear off ones. And so if I have to pay a few extra bucks for that, so not have to worry about running out of sheets or making copies or whatever, then I'm good with that. So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.